Hello everyone and welcome to another Transfer Weekly. You're joined by me this week. And this week is slightly different because there have been some transfer rumours which we will cover in more detail today. The window has been open, although it did close very briefly due to the Club World Cup, although the Club World Cup is still ongoing. So it's open today, which is Monday the 16th of June, and it will close on the 1st of September at 7 o'clock BST. Anyways, let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. First up, we've got Rich.
Big up everyone, hope you're doing well. Big up to Louis Tidy for the recommendation that he put in the comment section, and that recommendation is Leslie Ugoku. Now he's a 21-year-old French national who started his career off at Stade Rennes, or Rene, depending on how you want to pronounce it. He then got signed for Chelsea and then spent last season on loan at Southampton, and that will be our main focus when we go through this. Now at Stade Rennes, he played a total of 47 appearances, scoring once. When he signed for Chelsea in his initial season, he had 12 appearances, and last season at Southampton, he had a total of 26 appearances, scoring one and having one assist, even though he only started 18 of the 26. Now, just briefly talking about the goal he did score, it's a goal against West Ham at the London Stadium, and the ball fell from a bit of a height and he's managed to volley it in with his left foot. And to be fair, for someone who's a defensive midfielder, it's a very, very tidy finish. But let's look a little bit more into his actual attributes. Standing at about 6'2", 6'3", he's definitely an absolute unit in the midfield. Focus on his tackling to start off with. It's pretty impressive that he doesn't allow many to beat him on a 1v1. He uses his frame to obviously not just win the ball back, but then use that as a means to then attack and drive the team forward. Another good aspect of his game is that even if his teammates beaten, he's got that very languid running style that kind of makes him run like a gazelle, and he's able to get back and make recovery challenges. And a lot of those recovery challenges are actually slide tackles, which is quite impressive. Obviously, if he's running from behind the opponent, you'd think he's obviously tackling from the wrong side. But he's got that skill to be able to hook his leg around and be able to win the ball fairly. Now, when you look at not just physical strength, but looking at his passing as well, he tends to play a lot of short passes, keeps it very nice and tidy, very simple. But he's also got the ability to play long-range passes when he sees fit. And normally, most of the time, he'll play those long-range passes down the side where Kyle Walker-Peters was playing, because obviously Kyle Walker-Peters would bomb down the right-hand side for Southampton. But what I would say, and I'm not comparing him to Paul Pogba, but his playing style kind of has that sort of feel to it. Now, when he does get the ball, he glides across the field and he glides up the pitch, and he does it kind of like it's almost nonchalant, but there's also purpose to it. And for someone who's so tall, you'll be very surprised at how good his actual ball manipulation is, his footballing manipulation is, how he can dribble with the ball, how he can move the ball from side to side. It's pretty impressive. But then he's also got the ability to stride and drive forward with the ball with pace, even though he's standing at 6'2" and 6'3". And lastly, he has a very, very decent eye for goal. Now, obviously, as a defensive midfielder, you're not expecting him to score many. But when he has been in the box, and the goals he has scored, one for Chelsea in pre-season, he's guided it into the far post. And like I said earlier, the volley he scored against West Ham for Southampton was pretty incredible. So all round, how does he fit Palace? I mean, he could be a decent midfield option for Wharton, because where Wharton's a bit more cultured on it and a bit more measured, Leslie Ugoku could be a bit more powerful with the ball, and like I said, he gets into the box where Wharton doesn't do so as much. So I think they can have a nice little balance for each other. And if he does sign for us, whether it's a signing or even on loan, which could be a great option for us, just that ability to be able to win the ball. Could he win the ball higher up the field for us, which will set up more attacks and more possession in the final third? Transfer market had got him down, I think, around 18 million euros, which is about £15 million. Considering Chelsea did sign him for about 22, £23 million, I'm sure they're going to want to get a lot more for their money if it is a signing. But I'll be happy to take a player like that on loan. Granted, I don't want to deal with Chelsea anymore because they're so frustrating. But if we were to get him on loan, it'll be a great loan signing considering we're obviously going to be looking at strengthening our squad for the Europa League. But yeah, that is it for me, and that is Leslie Ugochukwu.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome back to Transfer Weekly, of course. This week I'm covering Strahinja Pavlovich, a Serbian centre-back who currently plays for AC Milan. Pavlovich started his senior career rather, at FK Partizan, making several appearances for them, scoring once, 37 total appearances for them, and would be a key figure in them winning the 2018-19 Serbian Cup that season. He would break in and become a first team regular at Partizan, um, and then would sign for Monaco on a pre contract deal, but within the French club loaned him back to Partizan. He only made 11 appearances in total for Monaco. That was only across very, very sporadic times there. He would get loaned out to Cercle Bruges, with a very limited game time being seen at Monaco during that time. Then the following season would be loaned out to Basel until the end of the 2021-22 season, only playing about 11 games for them. He then joined Red Bull Salzburg in July 2022 for a fee of around about 7 million euros. Making his debut there on the 15th of July, so 14 days later, he was straight into the lineup, playing all 90 minutes in a 3-0 win there. Not much else to say. Didn't win any honours at Salzburg, but then in July 2024, he would join AC Milan for an estimated 18 rather. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong numbers here. 18 million euros with a contract until the 30th of June 2028. He has certainly broken into the AC Milan team. Made his debut against Parma in a 2-1 loss, then would score his first goal as Milan drew 2-2 with Lazio. He has represented Serbia at all levels of international representation for the under 17s, under 19s, under 21s, and senior teams, respectively. But for his seniors, he's made 46 appearances, scoring 4 times. So this is a defender who knows where the goal is, knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. Certainly, 6'4" as well. Certainly, a physical presence has drawn comparisons to Yap Stam. In fact, he would actually choose Yap Stam's former number at AC Milan, the number 31 shirt, uh, in accordance with those uh, comparisons that the Rossoneri made with him. Made 7 appearances in the Champions League this season with AC Milan, 24 appearances in the Serie A, 4 appearances in the Coppa Italia. And again, representation on the international level as well. We've been linked with him before. So if you remember last season, during around about July, August, we were quite linked with him. Hopefully trying to maybe get him before he went to AC Milan, but unfortunately, he did choose AC Milan. And as I said, his contract was a 4-year contract, but he does have an option for a further year extension on that. I believe AC Milan placed a rather high figure on him as we were linked with him. So it was expected to be around about 30 million 30 million euros from a report made back on the 8th of June. Milan have already started to lose players. Of course, we've just seen Tijani Reindeers join Manchester City. So it could very well be Milan really want to hang on to somebody who's just coming into his own. He's definitely a good presence for Milan. Um, I think this is, as opposed to last week when I said Esteve probably wouldn't be in the starting lineup. I think Pavlovich would be a straight up replacement for Mark Gahey. So if Mark Gahey was to leave the club in this window, I think Pavlovich would be the key figure in replacing Gahey. I think he's very versatile across the back line. His heat map would suggest it. Does tend to play on the left or on the right, never in the centre. Though AC Milan don't employ a 5 or a 3 centre back system, much like Palace do. But I think him playing on the left centre back role would certainly play well into that. I'd say he's a wide centre back rather than Esteve being a ball playing centre back, or perhaps just just as a stopper. I think Pavlovich is an all rounder, which I think is amazing in this day and age for a defender to be so versatile. We I think there is going to be the question that AC Milan will bump up that price. 30 million euros, I think, could even go higher than that if Palace were to properly go for him. But I think it certainly should be the option there. Um, that's all I've got for Pavlovich. I'm not going to rattle on much longer. I've kept enough of your time, but thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you next week.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my section where I'll be talking about Kangin Lee, or Lee Kangin, as he'd be known in South Korea, as the family name comes first. He's 24 years old, so he's a young player with a lot of potential, but equally he's got a lot of experience as well. He's played with PSG in Europe, something that we obviously require, as we are very likely going to be playing in Europe, whether that's in the Europa League or the Conference League. In terms of where he plays in an attacking role, more so on the right hand side, but he's left footed, so that means that he'll give a nice cutting in option when playing in that attacking midfielder right hand role. He has also played on the left as well, as his heat map shows. Which means that he's versatile. So if Eze was ever injured or needed a rest, I'm sure he could also play on that side. I think the good thing about this as well is that he provides a different option. Ismail Sarr, as we know, is very good at running beyond the defender. He's very, very quick, very, very good finishing as well. Kangin Lee is more of a creative outlet, so you won't see any gut busting runs beyond the defensive line, but you will see more control in that midfield, which I think at points last season it was only Ebbs who was really able to do that, and he was dropping in and helping the midfield when, for example, Adam Wharton was injured. I imagine Kangin Lee will be able to do something similar, but on the other side. It also gives us just a bit more variability as well, because I think we tend to overload that right hand side a lot more as a result of Munoz and Sarr. But if we have Kangin Lee on that side instead, perhaps we could kind of flip it, so then we have the left side we're overloading instead. Just provides more options and it makes us less predictable in attack. In addition to that, he's a fifth most creative player at PSG this season. He ranks fifth of all players in terms of shot creating actions, which when you're behind people like Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, you're in very good company, and Ousmane Dembele as well. The Champions League winners. Whilst he's young, he does provide us with some valuable experience in Europe. In terms of a price, there's not been a price that's actually been suggested online. I've had a look at his contract expiry date. It doesn't expire until 2028. But that said, one thing that could work in our favour is the fact that PSG are absolutely stacked in attack. Like I said, I've previously mentioned Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, Desiree Doué, but also on top of that you got Barcola as well. they've got some very serious firepower, and I think they could afford to lose Kangin Lee. And there's been no suggestion whether it be a permanent or a loan deal. Either way, I think overall I do think it is a good deal. We need someone who just provides something a little bit different on that right hand side. And I know there's been talks about França potentially going on loan. And after that, I think we do lack some serious experience in the attack as well. In fact, none of the attack would have played European football. I think Ismail Sarr might have for Marseille, but he's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. And yeah, I think overall it's a good price, and I think if we're going to go all out for a nice big squad with lots of depth, I think this would be a very smart signing for us. And obviously, I know that we can only take 25 players in List A, and obviously Kangin Lee. So that my watch started going off. So yeah, I think overall it's a smart signing. I worry a little bit about, obviously, not worry too much, but we only have 2 homegrown club trained players in the squad, so that means that our List A is only going to be 23 players unless we do sign Zaha or Moses or something like that. But that's very unlikely going to happen. Anyone who's below the age of 21 and has been with us for more than 2 years, they can be in List B. So I know we're talking about putting Mustafa in List A, well, not in List A, but in the senior team. Doesn't really make a difference because they can go on both anyway. And I think there is talk about França going on loan, and then thereafter we've only really got SA. I know we've got Ebbs, Ismail Sarr. They've got good experience, albeit not so much in Europe. But I think there's going to be an important balance between the league, the domestic cups, and Europe. And we've got to be smart with signings like this to make sure that we're not out on our feet on the Sunday games. Just trying to get through the game. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and thank you to Rich, Nikki, and Nate for putting their videos in here. Hope you enjoy the video, and we'll see you all soon. I'm sure we'll be updating you on what's going on with Europe and things like that, and I'm sure we'll be talking about finalised potential registration for squads and things like that. But we'll keep you all up to date. Again, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all very much for your support. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.